Does this show the Bitcoin floor is in? Well, everybody's trying to predict when will the bottom of Bitcoin be. When is the good time to buy? Should I buy now? Will it keep going down? Well, we don't really know, but we can look for signs. Of course, nobody knows the future, but we can look for signs to try to tell us maybe we're seeing the bottom of the Bitcoin floor. So let's take a look and see what's happening. Now, before we dive in, let me just break things down. I try to break them down very simple for you. Markets aren't really that hard to understand. You can get caught in the weeds, but look, markets stop going down when there's no more sellers. Pretty simple, right? Markets also stop going up when there's no more buyers, which is why when you see these parabolic runs, it sucks in more people, it goes up faster, but eventually it sucks everybody in, it runs out of buyers, and then it rolls over. Same thing, when there's no more sellers, it stops going down. Also, when markets stop going down on bad news, that's also a really good sign. So when you see, bad news, China bans Bitcoin again, right? Markets drop. But when you keep getting bad news and it doesn't go down anymore, it's typically a good sign that we've run out, we've exhausted the sellers. So have we run out of sellers on Bitcoin? Have we found the floor? Well, let's run through a couple events. So first of all, the Bitcoin price really started to tumble when the Fed started raising rates and the market started to roll over. So then all the funds, all the Wall Street traders that were trading Bitcoin like a tech stock, they started liquidating with all their other tech stocks, right? Bitcoin's down less than most name brand tech stocks, the PayPals, the Shopifys, all of those companies. So it's down less than that, but they were trading it just like a tech stock. It's not a tech stock, but they were trading it like that. So it started rolling over, so that got rid of some sellers. And then the bad news came, right? It was sitting around 45,000, and then the Terra Luna thing blew up. I've covered that extensively. That blew up, and then they had massive liquidations, had to dump massive amounts of Bitcoin. So there was a lot of sellers, more sellers than there were buyers, so it went down. And then that triggered a whole tidal wave, a domino effect, if you will, of more people getting liquidated. So then Terra Luna went down, and then Celsius went down, and then Anchor went down, and 3 Arrows Capital went down, and FTX had to come in and bail everybody out. We have BlockFi, all this damage, right? I'm not going to go through all that. But this cascading effect had more liquidations, and that brought the price down. So have we wiped all of that out? Have we wiped out all the liquidity or all that forced selling, all that leverage in the system? And it looks like we might have. So let's look at a couple of things here. All right, so we can see this article right here. Celsius Network pays off a MakerDAO loan, freeing up $440 million of collateral. So what does this mean? So Celsius had to halt withdrawals, and they're trying to get things cleared up so they could maybe hopefully try to return some of that money back to people who had it there. Now, when it first halted withdrawals, the liquidation price was around, I think, $18,000 Bitcoin. And so I was afraid that these Wall Street raiders were going to try to hunt that, meaning they were going to try to manipulate the price down to that level to liquidate their positions, which would then, of course, force way more Bitcoin on the market. And if we had more people selling than buying, it would push the price down even more. But Celsius has been able to continue to add more collateral. And I think now today their collateral price, the liquidation price is around 5,000-ish levels. And I don't think the Wall Street raiders can get the price down that low, so they've probably given up on that. So now we probably are pretty much done with the liquidations. We've seen FTX come in and backstop a bunch of the big companies. And I think those liquidations are pretty much done. The price is settled around $20,000 level, which is a big drop from the $40,000 level, which is a really big drop from the $65,000 level that we had seen about 8 or 9 months ago. 10 months ago, something like that. But here's where things start getting interesting. Have we found the floor? So after all that happened, we've got all that out of the system. I don't see any big liquidations happening from that anymore. We had more bad news. So Bitcoin mining, high-power computers, they process transactions, and they earn a lot of Bitcoin back. They had typically been holding on to that Bitcoin, but now because with the price coming down so low and their profitability coming down low, they've been forced to start selling that to cover their costs. And so now we've been getting a lot of liquidity dumped into the market from the Bitcoin miners. Here's a chart right here. You can see the amount of Bitcoin being sold. And then this blue line here is the amount that they've been selling. And so you can see how much the amount of selling that they've had on their books has increased. If we want to put some numbers behind it, you can see right here, Core Scientific was forced to liquidate 165 million of Bitcoin, which was over 7,000 Bitcoin were dumped into the market. So this happened, but yet the markets didn't move down anymore. That's pretty interesting. 7,000 Bitcoin, that's a big chunk. Now, could they keep selling more? Well, so one, the market didn't move down. Two, they've liquidated most of their Bitcoin. So they sold 7,200, but they only have 1,900 left. So there's no more sellers. Now, they have 1,900 left they could sell, but they've sold the majority, the 7,200, and it didn't bring the markets down anymore. And it wasn't just them. We can see here, this Purpose Bitcoin ETF sold 24,000 Bitcoin on Friday. And that pushed the price down to 18,000, but it just bumped right back up. So they dumped 24,000 Bitcoin onto the market. So we saw the liquidations happen, the Terra Lunas, the Celsius, 3 Arrows Capital, et cetera. It brought the price down. Okay, we're moving past that. The leverage is pretty much out of the system. And now here we have the Bitcoin miners dumping massive amounts, 24,000, 7,000 on the market, and it's not really bringing it down anymore. So markets stopped going down. There's no more sellers. Now they've liquidated all their positions. They don't have any more Bitcoin to sell. Now we saw this chart today, and this is from Binance. This was put up by Eric Weiss. And he said someone is buying $1 million of Bitcoin per second on Binance. $1 million of Bitcoin per second. Who could be buying $1 million of Bitcoin per second? Well, somebody big is buying it. Somebody big with a lot of money that probably knows a couple things. Why would they be buying $1 million per second at this price range? Well, I've shown you this chart before. This is a Bitcoin fair valuation framework. And what this shows us, I'm not going to go through this for a long time, but basically we can see the realized price. So we can see on-chain data tells us what the price level was that most people acquired their Bitcoin, or the last price it moved at. And then we can look at the 200-week moving average. So this is a 4-year average of Bitcoin price. What we can see is that anytime the Bitcoin price has touched the 200 moving day average, it has been a historic buying opportunity. We can see this green box here in the middle was back in the March of 2020 buying position when you could have bought Bitcoin for less than $4,000. Now today it's all the way down to 20, but imagine if you bought at 4,000 and then you sold it at 20. Wouldn't that be good? So anytime it's touched these lines, it's been a historic buying opportunity. Bitcoin today is sitting on this historic buying opportunity, sitting on this 200-week moving average at this fair valuation framework. We can see that the markets aren't continuing to move down on bad news, and the sellers, the liquidations from the over-leveraged positions, and then the liquidations from the miners have pretty much run out. So has the market run out of sellers? I get it. There's some people, you got a couple Bitcoin here and there. I'm talking about 24,000 Bitcoin sellers. Have we run out of massive sellers? And are the big buyers coming back in now to defend this historic buying opportunity? As I said, there's $1 million of Bitcoin being bought per minute here. Not minute, second. So let me know what you think. Have we found the Bitcoin floor? Of course, we don't know history, but what's your gut telling you? Leave me a comment down below. As always, give me a thumbs up this video if you like it. If you don't like the video, you can give me a thumbs down, but at least tell me why. Hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this channel, and that's what I got for you today. To your success. I'm out. Since you've stayed to the end, I know you like this video, which means you're probably gonna really like this video right here and this video right here.